welcome you to the 2025 annual meeting. This meeting, how many people have been to annual meetings before? Oh my gosh. Do you ever come to the other open member meetings? Just, yeah, a few. This is the fun one, right? So this meeting is a little bit more formal than our open member meetings, and there are a number of things that we have to do to make sure that we can actually hold this meeting. So I would like Patty Leibach, our secretary, to come up here and tell us if we've met our quorum so that we can actually conduct business today. Patty?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So I have the pleasure of saying we do have a quorum, so we can conduct the business of today. And for the numbers, there were 185,185 eligible votes to be casted. This one is a tongue twister for me every year. And no fewer than 92,594 are represented either here today or by proxy. So we can conduct the business of today.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for those of you who voted. Really important. You know, it's hard with, I think, our island and the mix of people who are here full-time, part-time. If you're not here full-time, it's not as evident all the time that, you know, what's going on the island. So thank you very much for voting. So, our agenda today, we're going to take a look back into 2024 and spend some time talking about the future. John Carpenter is going to talk about long-range planning. We've got some really exciting things to report on that we've done already, but lots of great things for 2025. Our new general manager, John Schultz. John, you want to stand up? How many people? Yay! General manager. John, that's not you and me. So really, really good. John's going to talk a little bit about his background, maybe some of the things he's observed so far. He's been here since January 13th, so a month and 2 days. So trial by fire, which is great. Our real estate organization, Skyer, Ben Schuyler is here to talk about the state of real estate. Our employee assistance fund, Lucy Welton and May Carter is going to give us an update on their progress. Anybody interested in the treasurer's report? Todd's last, yeah, Todd's turning around. Yeah, there is no treasurer's report, no, Todd's going to report on the financials. Anna Plesky is going to announce the employee and the manager of the year, two really great awards that we've given. We're going to thank the outgoing 3 governors who have served us really well, and then welcome in the 4, I guess Christine Iconis is coming back again, but the 3 new governors to the board. And then Q&A. So how does that sound, everybody? Okay, cool. All right, so looking back and looking forward, it's been an action-packed year. Lots of challenges, but in my time being on the island, every year poses some challenge. So I think our staff, our committees, the board has done a really great job trying to tackle some of the bigger issues that we've had. So, and I was thinking about who contributes to all the things that happen on the island, and made a list of all the people that participate in the committees. We have 12 committees up there, plus we had a marketing plan, or master planning focus group where we had 109 volunteers volunteer to share their feedback about a variety of things that have an impact on the master plan. But what I'd like to do is ask those people whose name is up here, who participated in the committee, to stand up so we can recognize you. Don't be shy, come on. Nicely done. Thank you very much. I'd also like to have the board members, the current board members, stand up so that we can appreciate you as well. Many of them are up here. Thank you. A comment about how we select the people that are on committees. All the committee chairs have done a really good job at looking at how do we have participants on the committees who represent different levels of membership. How do we look at our demographic? How do we make sure that we've got a mix? So that the feedback that we get and the advisory, the information that these committees provide to the board is a real balanced mix of everybody on the island. The other thing I will note is you've got these committees up here, but within those committees, there are many subcommittees that work on very specific items. So they work really hard. The pay is terrific. Thank you so much for helping and participating. All right, so what's going on in our amenities? Let's take a look at the Racquet Club. We completed the renovation of the Racquet Sports Center. 5 new pickleball courts, renovated the clubhouse. How many people have had a chance to go down there and take a look? It's pretty cool, isn't it? It's really, really, really well done. There was a survey done earlier this year of Racquet Sports players. The question was, what kind of food and beverage do you want? And so the one that topped the list was, we really like a pour wall. And so Matt Hoisington, where are you, Matt? And Laura Ferreira were instrumental in making sure that we got the pour wall, so go down and visit, bring your little pour card and have a cocktail down there. Third Serve Hope Gap School, there were 24 members who participated in teaching these students over a 10-week period how to play tennis. So I think it's a really great commitment of the club's investment in our community. So thank you very much for that. Membership, we had 107 new members, or by modern math, 214 people. 3 new member events. Did anybody participate in the new member events? Any of those small cocktail parties? No? I went to one of them, and it was really refreshing to hear how excited these new members were to be on Seabrook. It's a nice reminder that we've got a really terrific place. Membership fit. Christine Hyponis and the Ally Ward and the membership committee put together a whole different set of membership levels, right? You all know about that, right? And so the question for many members was, like, which one do I pick? Which is the best fit for me? So the membership committee and our membership staff held, I think there were 8 either in-person or Zoom meetings to help members understand what the best fit was for them. In addition to that, the membership staff fielded around 500 calls from members to try to help members determine what the best membership level was for them. So you need to have a really big shout out for that. Golf, pace of play, that's not a problem, is it? It's not a problem anymore. The golf committee did a terrific job, and John Carpenter and you and your group and Todd Lynch did a great job at analyzing pace of play. How do we make sure that we get our rounds in 4 hours or less? In the beginning of 2024, if you were a slow player, you got a letter that said you're a slow player. The good news is for the last 9 months, there have been no letters sent out to anyone, so I think everybody's getting the message. The player, yeah, there's one fan there. The Player Development Center, Andrea Greer and the golf committee did some research on player development centers in the area and put together a really great proposal about what ours could look like. While we don't have definitive plans on when that's going to start, the board's going to take a look at that project mid-year and decide from a budget perspective, when can we start this project? So TBD, not like TBDs on the t-shirt. So equestrian, Sapphire the Mustang. Sapphire has her own Instagram page. Have you all signed up for the Instagram page? It's really a cool Adopt a Mustang program. I think she came from Idaho.
Nevada.
Oh, see, I knew somebody would correct me. Nevada. So she will be trained to be one of the herd horses that gives rides on the beach and the trails. Kids camps, in the strategic plan and the survey we did last year, there was an outcry for, we gotta have more kids stuff to do. Is that, did you all feel that same way? Not in this room. Okay, one person raised their hand back. So, you know, there are more children on the island, but as a grandparent, I love when my grandchildren come so they can have exposure to different amenities that we have on the island. So there was a small, I call it a little clinic called Horsin' Around for the kids to get more exposure to the equestrian center. And then I think there were 4, again, correct me if I'm wrong, 4 kids events during the holidays. Halloween, Christmas,
Yeah, starting this year.
Starting this year, so those will be in the future. But the idea is, how do we get more members down appreciating the Equestrian Center? So they're working real hard on that. Food and beverage, look at those pizzas. Over 90 member events this past year, and I love this number. 283,611 meals served in the past year. That's pretty cool. Food truck. The food truck, we had a little bit of a delay in getting the food truck started because there was a permitting issue. So the first time that the food truck operated was in May of this past year. But since May, between the food truck and outdoor kitchen, there were 80 times that those that the food truck and the outdoor kitchen provided services to us as members. So we're going to continue to use the food truck. We're going to continue to use the pizza kitchen. John Schultz has got lots of really good ideas on how we're going to continue to use that. So let me take you back to our meeting last year. Last year we presented the strategic plan, and I know everybody's committed that to memory, right? That's what I figured. This is really what we seek to provide for any project that we're working on or any decision we make. Can we make sure that you're getting the value and what your expectations are, and really be mindful of the cost? Doesn't mean we want to do this on the cheap, but there has to be a balance between how we make decisions on projects. So this is going to be a consistent theme, started last year with our strategic plan, and we're going to continue to apply it in all the things that we do. There were also, and I'll take you looking back, there were 4 action items that we talked about last year that came out of the strategic plan. So first was demonstrated collaboration between SAPOA and the town and the club. Bruce Kleinman and Dave Brown and I have met almost monthly throughout this whole year, trying to make sure that we're not working at cross purposes, and we're looking at how do we understand what each group is doing so we can make the right decision for everybody. Beach preservation, a great example of us working together. SAPOA has done an unbelievable job at organizing and supervising everything that's happened down the beach. Beach replenishment, Armor Stone. So some SAPOA people are here, right? I want to say that unbelievable job. That's great. Exploring technology. You'll hear a little bit from John Carpenter about the progress we're making on a platform called North Star. We currently use Jonas. North Star is an upgraded, updated, user-friendly, will provide us with data as the management team and the board, so we can really, again, make really good decisions. And I won't steal your thunder, John, because you've got a good spot on that one. And finally, expanding the Board of Governors recruitment. I'm happy to say that we had double the number of people who threw their hat in the ring for a governor's position this year. So I'm thrilled that we've got more people raising their hand, and I would encourage you to continue to raise your hand and volunteer. We've got some really, really, really smart people on this island, so we really would encourage you to sign up for those kinds of positions. So I'm going to turn it over to John, John Carpenter, so he can talk a little bit about the long-range plan. There you go.
Thanks, Lynn. How's everybody doing this morning? Giving up your Saturday morning for an annual meeting, isn't that great? Thank goodness it's annual. So I want to talk to you about 2 topics that I presented at the August open member meeting, and it was our decision on a technology platform and then the master planning project. Starting off with technology. In August, I mentioned to you that we had chosen North Star as a very proven professional, one of the top platforms, arguably the top platform for clubs across the nation. And I told you we were embarking on a conversion that would take us very rapidly into the fall, being able to do that and use the tools and the capabilities. Now, at the time, we were also searching for a new GM, and it became very evident early on that GM, Chief Operating role, is pretty critical, not only for the leader to map out all the processes that are needed for the conversion, but also for the department heads who are putting a lot of time into doing this conversion. And it was worth the wait. John Schultz brings an unbelievable knowledge to how good clubs are run, and so now we have them in the heart of this. But the department heads are bearing a lot of the burden, so please be aware of that. When you see Chef or Brian coming out with their head scratching and all the rest of it, they're having to really take all of their processes and look at how they want the business to be run so that we can convert. And I also give a shout out to Nicole Watt. She's been in the middle of all this, kind of herding the cats, if you will, and of course John is leading that effort. But why do we even do this? It's really an investment that's going to allow us to reduce costs. We're currently reliant on a 15-year-old legacy system that's hard drive based in some closets over here and not cloud based. Hard to believe, but that's the way we've been operating. And very quickly we're going to be able to have tools that improve the efficiencies, reduce the cost and dependence on IT support. Some of the examples I've shown here, that one came out of a focus group for the master plan that was pointing out it would be nice if we had a digital way to make all of our lessons, book all of our tables. And I'm talking about not only tennis lessons or golf lessons, but what about fitness lessons? Is this an opportunity for SAPOA and the club to actually look at making your experience on the island better? This tool will allow both entities to take a look at that where it makes sense and make our lives a lot easier as residents on the island to use the amenities. There's also the whole food and beverage from back of kitchen to front of kitchen. Getting things out in a timely manner, reducing waste, finding out what the costs are for each of these meals or each of these venues. And on the far right side, you see that dashboard where we have real-time analytics that allow the people that run our various departments to know with certainty and with high-tech analytics how we're doing as a business, how can we improve the experience for you all, but also how can we reduce the costs, which hopefully translates into lower dues as we go into each of the budget years. So we're very excited about this. We're moving fast and furiously, and we're going to try and have a couple of these tools available as early as April or May. We understand the full conversion is very unsettling to the operation. So if we can't get it completely converted for all the tools to be operated before the high season, some of this may fall into the fall. But we're putting the pressure on all the departments to try and go fast and furiously towards before the high season, so April, May. Happy later at the end to answer questions on the IT side. Now let's talk about the master plan. And I put a quote down there by the leader of KDC, and he may have taken it from somebody else, but I like the way it reads. And basically, a well-crafted master plan becomes a roadmap for continuous improvement over an extended period of time. How many of you are aware that there is a golf course master plan on the website right now? I encourage you to take a look at it. How many of you are aware that that master plan will celebrate its 10th year anniversary this November? Extended period of time. If you look at that master plan, there was an expert in Reese Jones that came in to provide suggestions and examples. There was a committee of residents whose names are on that website that looked at what made sense for us. There's also a sequencing. Phases are in that plan, and you're going to see phases for our master plan overall on the island. And it's the order in which we, the club, should do the improvements to the golf courses when we choose to do it. Some immediately, some are still there and undone, but we'll know what to do when we choose the right time financially to do it. So the same thing holds true for our overall master plan. And what I loved about this one is in my time on the island, which has only been since 2006, full-time 2017, I have never been a part of a joint effort like I've been a part of in this plan. I mean, Lynn, Mayor Bruce, Dave Brown set the tone for the three of us to work together. save all of us costs rather than doing 3 separate master plans, and look at this in a unified way across the island. Because last time I checked, my wallet goes to all 3 of those, so why would you separate those? And we didn't, and we were quite happy about that. So a roadmap can't be constructed without understanding the terrain. And so KDC made quite a few visits. They did a deep dive to our strategic documents, SIPWA and the club. But really the visits with the focus groups were the biggest part of this whole process. As Lynn said, there were 109 residents that were on the focus groups. 225 actually volunteered. We didn't have spots for everybody. And the type of focus groups are pretty interesting because they weren't necessarily entity-based. So there was one on social spaces and meeting rooms. Could be the Cooper Room down here, could be the lawn behind the lake house, it could be the community center, could be the town hall. But what are the needs and wants now and in the future for social and meeting spaces on the island? And from that, some suggestions came out. Similarly, we did the same thing on administrative and maintenance buildings, and you kind of get the idea. And on those teams were non-residents, full-time residents, non-members, community members, social members, full members, families with kids, people that are retired and here full-time and have been here for a long time. It was a really great process. And if any of you are familiar with word clouds, as KDC looked at all of the documents we gave them, and more importantly, the meeting minutes from the focus group sessions that were held, this is what popped up. And clearly you start seeing a theme on what the residents that were involved in this process really wanted to see come out of the master plan itself. And from that we created an objective and a set of guiding principles that everything we do is bounced against. And we wanted to do it right and take our time. In a perfect world, in August, maybe even before that, we announced that we would try and announce this entire project by this time, by now. And we don't want to rush the process, so we're only in step 3 or 4, as I'll show you, of a 10-step process. And constantly throughout, the objective is to develop an aligned long-term plan on how best to leverage the island's facilities, assets, and services to cost-effectively meet the future needs of Seabrook. And throughout, the guiding principles need to make sure that nature is first and foremost. Protect and respect and enjoy the beauty of the island in its natural environment. Community, engagement, undervalue, the longer version of this is fully leverage the island's existing resources while cost-effectively investing in the future. And finally, on the alignment side, like I said, I couldn't be happier with how we're really looking at some interesting opportunities. And I know there's been some comments related to why aren't we reorganizing the town and SIPOA and the club. We haven't ignored that whole issue, but from an amenity standpoint, we're trying to see if there's a way we might be able to put back office club and SIPOA people together for some shared services. What about front of house where you can go to one place if you're coming to the island and get a car pass, an amenity card, a permit? We're trying to look at those things in the longer term. So as I mentioned, this is a 10-step process. And we're really only in step 3, 4, where we wanted to make sure the roadmap was directionally correct. We wanted to make sure KDC didn't come back and say you need to construct a 12-story apartment building where the real estate building is today, as an exaggerative answer. And the feedback from the 120 that were involved was very strong that it is directionally correct. And I know this may come as a real shocker to you, but there's actually a cost associated with all of these. And that comes in step 5. But before we sent KDC back to start doing some budgeting and get a general idea of what these things cost, to put us in a position, along with the other focus group members, to be able to answer your questions on when are we going to do this and what is this going to cost. They wanted to make sure, and we wanted them to make sure, that they were heading back with the right concepts. So last Tuesday of this week, we had a wonderful session, over 120 people, at the Lake House. I think some people had read about it and thought they missed a general meeting. It was intended not to be clandestine, but just a smaller reveal with the people that helped create the concepts to begin with, to make sure we were doing the right things in their mind, that we had hit the things that their focus groups thought were important. And so all the boards were there, including the Utility Commission, representatives from the town, the ambassadors. There are 11 ambassadors that headed each of these groups, and they did a phenomenal job of preparing their teams and participating in this. And then from there, KDC presented in what are 3 phases. Phase 0 are items that were either already in our plans, our being the 3 entities, or fit within the budget. I am confidently here to tell you phase 0 is not a, oops, we gotta raise dues for this, or we have to give you an amenity assessment charge. These are kind of items that are within our budgets that we were happy, and we found out that they fit the master plan perfectly on the sequencing, and we're suggesting that the entities move forward on this. One of those is give us an easier way to digitally assess the lessons, the table reservations, and the rest of it. So we're going to be moving forward with that under North Star as an example. Phase 1 is those 3 to 5 year projects. These are the ones that you're going to have a really good chance to weigh in on whether it makes sense. And so are the boards of the various entities. And remember my example of the Gulf Master Plan. There are bunker changes and alterations that are in there that have never been done. But we know when we want to, we won't have to revisit what needs to be changed. That roadmap will be there on what we need to do in the order that we need to do it. The same thing will occur here in this plan. And then phase 2 is really a longer term. That's tearing down things possibly, or building up things possibly. That will require a lot more thought, understanding, and agreement from all of you. So all of you will have plenty of time to weigh in. This is not an approval of a blank check. It's an approval of a roadmap with concepts that may or may not be done, but if they are, it's the order in which they will be done. So here's the key things I want you to take away from this, is you're going to start seeing some of these ideas coming out. I highly encourage you to go to the website, and I'll show you that address here in a second. But in February, starting Monday, you're going to start seeing zone maps that we're talking about, and then the Mondays after that, you'll see more and more information. KDC, meanwhile, is going back and taking the ideas, those that were validated, those that were tweaked from last Tuesday, and they're making those final changes, and they're starting to put some numbers on them. So that when we come back here in March and April for larger town halls, stay tuned, you'll have a chance to see it. I absolutely guarantee that all of you are going to like an awful lot of what you see. I wouldn't be surprised if all of you love what you're going to see, but what does it cost? And so that's going to be a part of the discussion, and we're looking forward to getting that feedback. I personally really liked what I saw. My wallet isn't immune to what it's going to cost, and I know that. So I'm too curious about what some of this is going to cost and how do we fund it. And the entities will look at that. So one final comment again, take this website, take a picture of it, go there if you haven't been going there. This is your one safe source. All 3 entities are doing this together. And I couldn't be prouder of the way the POA board, my board, and the town are working together on this. I've never seen anything quite like it. So that's all I have. I'm now going to hand it over to the guy that Lynn and I were extremely happy to hand the keys over to. I couldn't be prouder of the selection and the leader that you have for your club. And without further ado, I'll introduce John Schultz.
I don't think I need it. Yep. Thank you. Thanks for the nice introduction and the warm welcome I've received over the 32 days. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that the 4 snow days got counted into my time. I'm not sure about that. The other, I'm glad to hear that I'm not being introduced in this format as the current manager, so that is really something that I think might have, that fear factor is out there just a little bit, if you will. Just to talk a little bit about where I am personally, because I get this question often, where are you moving, what are you doing? We're in the attic cleaning out phase, and we all know this situation. We've lived in our house for 20 years, and it comes down and it either takes a left to the Goodwill or it takes a right to the dump. I do have to say my wife has become a master at Facebook Marketplace, and while it will not pay for a cup of coffee, it at least moves the furniture and the different things out. The other day I was in front of the Ladies Golf Association, and I started a sign-up sheet for helping us move. We moved into our new house March the 4th. For some reason, no one could find the sign-up sheet, but we have it in the back again today in case anyone's interested in that. So we're moving into Kiowa River March the 4th, and so we're excited about getting down and getting established. One thing I get a lot, what brings you here, or what was exciting about this opportunity, and I'll use the real estate adage, and I'll steal it from Sire and Ben here, of location, location, location. So my daughter's been living in Charleston for about 4 years now, so that was key. My son was just down this weekend, as a matter of fact. And then second, we've been talking about moving to, my wife Kathy and I have been talking about moving here for about 10 years, and to the coast, if you will. And then the biggest piece was the opportunity, because the excitement around the master plan, the growth, Seabrook Island Club. My experience has been in larger clubs. I was at Carmel Country Club for almost 20 years, and just the size, the shape, 36 holes of golf, and my whole life I've been in club management after college, if you will. First job was at the Landings, and actually we're going there. It's kind of exciting to go back there for a board retreat in March. So that's kind of what brought me here and what my thinking was, and thank you to Patty and the search committee and the wisdom there. That would be humor. Yeah, thank you. Couple observations. When I walk around and I see the staff engagement is exciting to me. The feedback that I get from them, the excitement that they have for coming here. My second day, I was in the office, and two of the employees from Pelican's Nest came over to say hello, and they just bounced into the office. And I thought, well, that takes a little gumption to just barge into my office. Not that that's a big deal, but they did. And they shook my hand, and I said, where do you work? And it was freezing cold these days, and I hadn't been outside all that much. And they said, Pelican's Nest. And I said, what's that? And they go, what? It's the jewel of the entire island. And I went, well, show it to me. So we bounce over, and they're showing me different things, and just that energy was exciting to me. And that I feel it amongst all the different areas. So good with that. I would be not truthful and honest if I didn't say a little of me can't help but have a Dodge effect of when I look around and I look for areas that efficiencies might be obtained and thought of. I'm trying not to implement too many of those too quick, too soon, because there's always a listen, learn, and lead idea in starting any new job. So I'm moving through with that. And I appreciate all the feedback that I've gotten so far. Let's just go ahead. This will end our preliminary talk. We can just jump to any ideas, opportunities, or opinions that anybody might have. We can just get right to it, because no one has any of those around the room. So thank you for the opportunity. Thanks for having me here, and we're excited to get started.
Great.
So thank you. All right.
All right, Ben. Ben is our broker in charge, Ben Schuyler. Many people would pronounce his name Ben Schiller, but it's Schuyler. We had a whole conversation about this. Sorry. We'll conversation. Go ahead, Ben.
Thank you, Lane. I really appreciate it. I got to be honest, every time I see a microphone, it kind of takes me back to a karaoke night. And I'm not expecting a standing ovation, because Baby Got Back is not on one of those. Now that you have that lovely image in your head, I shall begin. So, first I want to kind of start off with 2024. And it's really best if we kind of look at the real estate on Seabrook in really kind of two different markets. The first market is homes, and the second market is villas. So from as far as the homes were concerned, very normalized market. The median sales price was $1,379,000. That was an uptick of 2.5%. 100 homes actually sold, so that's very healthy. That's actually 19% more than the previous year. So, each of the different price points, there's different nuances with it. So make sure that you have a real estate agent that you're working with and you can kind of navigate that. But as far as the villas go, a slightly different tale. So the median sales price in 2024 was $580,000, and that was actually a dip of 3.3%. Now, as far as number of transactions, it was 71, and that was actually 11.3% decrease. Now, those aren't astronomical decreases. I wouldn't worry about that whatsoever. However, it's in large part with some, short-term rental caps. It was also more attributed to just the cost of insurance kind of skyrocketing the year prior, and that's a direct contribution to where pricing really is. So again, highly need to have a Seabrook Island real estate agent that can kind of walk you through that. If you do have a villa that you're thinking of selling, it just needs to be a compelling price to be in that category of the ones that are selling. They are selling. So just want to throw that out there. As far as what I see for 2025, I see a kind of a similar path. I see that home sales are going to just continue. We have a very similar start to the year. And then also on the villa sales, they're selling, absolutely, but just make sure that we're pricing those correctly. There is one stat that I want to just kind of share. And I was going through everything, and everything looked pretty darn rosy. And there was the Charleston Regional Multiple Listing puts out several different data points, and one of them is months of inventory. And so the MLS has 32 different areas that they have listed out for the kind of geography of the whole area. And we were 29 out of 32 at 4.8 months of inventory. So a lot of this has to do with the villa sales, and a healthy market is 6 or less months of inventory. So we're still in that healthy environment, but I want to point it out because this is one of the key metrics that our agents are tracking. Again, if you do not have a SIRE representative that you're working with, get with me and I'll make sure that you're put in touch with one that's excellent. And I will say, I have managed several different real estate firms, and it is awesome to see these guys in action. I have a phenomenal team, and sometimes I just sit back and I'm like, wow, that was incredible. So one of our main purposes is to drive cash for the Seabrook Island Club. So last year we did $222 million in volume. That equated to just over $6 million in revenue. And in that, our expenses included just over $340,000 towards the club, as far as rent, accounting services, things like that. And we were able to come up with a profit of $440,000. So just last week or the week before, we were able to give the Seabrook Islands Club a cash contribution of $450,000. So I was very pleased with that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your support. One of the reasons we were able to do that is with our new marketing efforts. So, in April, when I first took on the position, I met with so many different people. Y'all met with the agents, and one thing that stood out was the need to be able to better compete with our competitors from a marketing perspective. And so immediately, it was the first thing that we dove into and tackled. And I am so pleased that we went through this process. It wasn't just a a brand refresh. It wasn't just a color scheme and looking all of that and make sure we look pretty and make sure that we compete. It was a dissecting what we are doing from a marketing perspective and making sure that we are doing everything we can to not only attract people to Seabrook Island, that we're showing the value, how awesome our community is, but we're also making sure that your valuable asset, a $1 million, $3 million, whatever it is, dollar house, we are doing every possible thing to market that, make sure that other agents know about it, make sure that the consumers, potential people interested in Seabrook Island, that they're aware of that property. And so we went through this process, and Matchstick Social is a company, local company here in Charleston that literally stood out above the rest. And they've been working with us for 6 months now. So they have done a remarkable job of really kind of tackling these 4 pillars right here. So property, team, lifestyle, and amenities. And they have 7 different associates, marketing specialists that are working on our account. From strategizing, from graphic design, from creating targeted ads, from literally everything you can think of on the behind the scenes, from not just making our website look pretty, but making sure that the blogs have the rich content that when people are starting their search for the Southeast, they live in Ohio or wherever it is, and they're thinking about retiring or thinking about getting a second home, Seabrook pops up on the map. And so they've really done an excellent job with that. So very pleased. One of my biggest takeaways after being here almost a year is how integral we are with Seabrook Island. So Seabrook Island Club doesn't have like a separate entity that's out there selling memberships and selling the value of Seabrook Island. That falls to us. And I'm so proud of our agents because we do such a good job of just that. But it really kind of strikes me as we are Seabrook Island. We are that welcome center for Seabrook Island. And it's not just the fact that our office is located just outside of the gates, which it is, and we get people stopping by all the time, but a lot of times we're that first introduction to Seabrook Island. We are the ones that are going through and kind of mapping out the value, the lifestyle, the amenities, sitting down with them for the first time, having that conversation. We're the ones that have that first tour, that take them around through the island and pinpoint just how amazing this lifestyle, this community is. So it kind of starts with there. But from a welcome center point of view, it's so much more than that. I was talking to our office manager, Charlene, just the other day, and literally we have people that just stop in for a map. And we jump up, here's the map. You need a tie chart, here's the tie chart. You need to make a copy, scan something, pop in a conference room. We are you. Literally, if you need something, stop on in and take advantage of us being right there. So it really is that brick and mortar welcome center. Heck, we even have a notary. So come on in. Get your stuff done, and grab one of those real estate guides because boy, do we have some awesome listings that just hit the market. Also, it's also online as well, SeabrookIsland.com. So it's so important that we not only make Seabrook shine, but a lot of times people start their search obviously online. So with the help of Matchstick Social, we've really done a good job of showcasing just how wonderful it is to live here, showcasing our amazing properties, but it's also that kind of digital welcome center as well. And we're constantly doing ads that are directing people to this site. And I will say, as far as some of those ads on Facebook and Instagram and all of those different places, we have some really good content out there. Some great posts. So, boy, if I could have most of these people in this room start liking and sharing some of that, it only just adds to the value of the online presence. And when the online presence is more, guess what? The values start to creep up. I will say that we have this database now of 20,000 plus people, connections, just because we've been an integral part of Seabrook Island for so very long. So we do have a program called Office Exclusive Listings, and so I highly recommend that you reach out to your Seabrook Island real estate agent to find out a little bit more about this. So a little teaser, little carrot there. A top agent in the office was able to just leverage that program into a top sale, record-setting sale, $6.8 million on the island. So if you're curious about that, be sure to reach out. I will say I have a open door policy. Literally, you walk in, see me, walk in, and if you have a question or concern or anything, I'll tell you to have a seat. Can I get you a cup of coffee? So, want to thank you all so much for the time, and let's go. Thank you.
I think, it's not, there we go. I think we need a broker in charge with more enthusiasm, because he really is enthusiastic about it. Thank you very much, Ben, that's really helpful. I would like now to have Lucy Walton and May Carter come up and talk about the progress of the EAF, the Employee Assistance Fund. Yeah, you gotta hop up there.
Take the stairs, please.
Good morning. For those of you who know me, know I'm a huge believer in practicing gratitude. And I just want to say, what a privilege to share the Seabrook experience. I mean, how lucky are we? I do want to acknowledge, however, the tough start we all had this morning. I know you, like me, had to get up at an insanely early hour to plan your commute, check Waze, check Google Maps. Would it take 1 minute or 8 minutes? I mean, these are the things we worry about here. But I'm going to make a wild guess that the employees supporting us here at this meeting and those supporting the golfers who are playing hooky and the tennis players and pickleball players probably had to get up a whole lot earlier than we did. They have real traffic concerns, and we are so grateful that they come here every day. We've all seen that mess on Main Road and Betsy Carrison. So let's just give a shout out to the employees. My name is Meg Carter, and I'm joined by my co-president, Lucy Walton. We are the co-presidents of the Seabrook Island Club Employee Assistance Fund. We are joined in our volunteer efforts by five other board members: Sally Lynch, Patty Addison, who serve as co-treasurers, Tony Sirianni, Nancy Buck, our secretary, Nancy Bodway, and Nancy Swan. I also want to say that Sally, Patty, Tony, Lucy, and I are submitting the paperwork today to change our names to Nancy. The fund was created to support the employees of the Seabrook Island Club. Big button, hold on. Big button. We eventually, hopefully sometime this year, plan to expand assistance to the employees of the Seabrook Island Property Owners Association and the town of Seabrook. As many of you know, the fund was launched in May 2023 when we received our IRS designation as a 501c3. The first associate was awarded funds in December 2023. We operate entirely independently from the club. However, we consider the club a valued partner. We work very closely with the HR department to ensure that the employees who do apply through a rigorous application system are in good standing and have completed the application in full, often answering additional questions that the board derives. The board makes decisions about gifting funds, and there are some applications that are not funded. To date, we are proud to say, thanks to the generosity of many Seabrookers, 27 associates have received funds from the fund, totaling more than $76,000. And I think an impressive percentage of the 27 employees awarded, 23 remain as Seabrook Island Club employees. Funds have assisted employees with unexpected medical bills, utility malfunctions, transportation emergencies, dental injuries, and weather-related crises, and many, many other things. We respect their confidentiality, but I can assure you some of the stories would bring tears to your eyes. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to Seabrokers who have generously supported the fund. We cannot do this good work without you. And now Lucy will share some thanks from employees in their own words. Thank you.
I'm used to it.
Great to be told.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Meg. I'm Lucy Walton. And as Meg stated, our associates who do receive funds, obviously this is very confidential, but we do ask those who are interested to let us know their thoughts after receiving their funds. How's the process? What did that mean to you? How can we do this better? And just to share their comments with us. And we wanted to share a couple with you that really stood out. So bear with me as I read these, please. This is from one recipient who stated, "As a recipient of the Employee Assistance Fund, I am so grateful. Despite the benefit of having medical insurance, my out-of-pocket medical expense, along with my usual monthly bills, would have been difficult to cover during my 2-month recovery from major surgery. The aid from the EAF allowed me to put 100% focus into my recovery. I could not be more thankful for that. It means so much knowing you work for people who support and care for you. Thank you again for your amazing act of generosity, love, and support." That's one. Here's another one. "Dear members of the Seabrook Island Employee Assistance Fund, I wanted to write a letter to each of you expressing my sincerest gratitude for the approval of my application letter. I cannot thank you all enough for taking the time to learn about my medical health and wanting not only to help me, but also follow alongside me through future endeavors. With your gift, I have been able to spend more time focusing on my physical therapy and have been trying out different physical activities that can help me throughout my health journey. The majority of my medical expenses have been paid off thanks to your full support. The day Anna called me about the approval, I was speechless. I truly couldn't say much other than thank you while holding back tears of joy. It means the world that I am in your thoughts here at Seabrook Island." This is an employee telling all of us this. "I truly love and appreciate my job here at Seabrook each and every day." And it sounds like our new GM, John, has witnessed that already for those Pelican Nest associates that came barging into the office. "The members and co-workers here have proved to me that this place is much more than just a job, and I feel truly blessed to be here. Thank you all for looking out for your employees with this fund. I hope each of you realize the impact you've had on the lives of employees here on Seabrook. Thank you for your kindness." Okay, this tells it all to me and us. And we just want to thank you all for your support. It's huge. We have a small pool from which to choose here on Seabrook to ask for help. And we do that often, and we're about to again. But thank you. It's working. We're doing good things to help others, so thank you. And our don't miss. Our next fundraising event will be on March 20th. It's a Thursday here in the ballroom. Our bourbon and bluegrass benefit. We'll be featuring some bourbon, I guess, and live music, auction, raffle, just a lot of fun. And we're here to try and come up with some new ideas that everybody would like to participate in. And this is available now on our website, thefund@si.org, if you wish to purchase tickets, and more information will follow soon. Thank you for your generosity.
All right, what a great program. Thank you, guys. All right, there you go.
It is 9:57.
He's going to talk really fast.
I'm going to go quickly. Just first a comment. I think Lucy and Meg's comments give you that sense for how meaningful it is for our employees. But then I can get a little selfish and think about it saying, by geography, we are the employer at the end of the road. That's just a fact. What we have to get to is being the employer of choice. And this is a wonderful, wonderful tool for us to help do that. So thank you. Thank you. Okay, financials. Just real briefly, how we did in 24 versus 23, a really solid year. We did well. Revenues were up 9%, largely funded by the dues increase we did at the beginning of the year of 11%. Expenses were up 6%. So if you look at 2023 and you see that negative cash from operations of $1.3 million, okay, we were okay with that as a board because we received $1.6 million of COVID-related relief. That's not reflected there. We don't have that anymore. So we knew we had to transition from that type of income statement on the right-hand side to one on the left, and then I'll get into what's in the future. So anyway, we were at 1.3, and the goal going into 24 was we had to at least cut that in half. So the budget was at $600,000 deficit because we had cash and we could do that. But I'm happy to share that we exceeded that target and we're positive from cash from operations of $200,000. And thank you for that thanks, but that is for all our employees. They're doing this each and every day, so I thank you for that. This is the most important slide because you look at operating results and you look at capital, okay, together. And this is comparing 2024 to the budget. You can see the $200,000 of positive cash flow from operations and how much Sire contributed. The slight discrepancy between that number and the 450 that Ben mentioned is just cash versus going through the income statement is consolidated with us, so that's why that's a little different. But this is the issue we need to deal with going forward is our debt payments. So that cash from operations, that positive $200,000 in the cash coming from Sire, it's going to have to get better to keep supporting our debt service. And that debt service goes through 2031. Okay? Not being critical of the debt service is great. We're in this building, but it is something that we're going to need to deal with continually for the next several years. All right, the middle section of it, the capital side of it, we had a budget of 6.6. We only spent 5.3. My perspective, that's not a good thing because everything in that 6.6 was something we needed to do. And we'll go through projects individually about what didn't happen that we wanted to happen. They'll get back on track. But for me, this was the biggest impact of not having a full-time general manager through the course of the year to oversee all those things. New member joining fees. Really interesting phenomenon this year. Ben talked about the transactions. We track the historical percentage of the number of transactions that result in new members. That's where the club gets their money, new member joining fees. We have been historically at 80% or a little higher. This year, we were down to 70%. Now, while the real estate business says, okay, that's why we had a shortfall in new member joining fees. That was an anomaly, but we have to watch it going forward to see if that's the new normal. I don't have the answer for that. Okay, end of the day, with everything taken care of, you know, we had a deficit of cash of $650,000 compared to a budget of $2 million. That's great to make that type of progress from where we were in the budget. Ending cash at 8.9, we're healthy. We're in a good position. I would take about $750,000 out of that just for capital delays that we need to start. But still, $8 million of cash is a good, healthy place to be. Here's the list of CapEx. When I look at this list, there are two things that I would call new or incremental. What we did in Ocean Terrace and what we did to add 5 pickleball courts. Everything else on this list is really maintaining the facilities we have. The stars are projects that are completed, so you won't see them again in 2025. Cash reserves, really important that we do this. We didn't change the cash reserve levels. There's a little bit of detail, but you've seen the slide before. We've been doing this for a long time. This is to protect us if we have a major event and we've got to kick in insurances, we've got deductibles, we have out-of-pocket costs, we've got debt to still pay, and employees to support it. So that's why that's there. Obligations. I mentioned the debt, 2031. It's marathon, not a sprint. Okay, we're on target, we're cruising along. But as we think about future plans, don't forget, this is going to be here until through 2031. Closing comments, and I think I've touched on most of these. We're in really good shape. The key stat for me is monitoring real estate transactions, conversions into new memberships. That's the biggest variable for me going into 25. And that the income statement for 2024 is more what you should expect to see going forward. Okay, and so that's all. And one comment on insurance. Last year when I stood up here and talked about it, I was the most nervous about insurance. We couldn't get as much coverage and it was much more expensive. For us as a club, it's gotten back down to about normal levels, and we've got much better coverage than we had in the past, and I think that's going to happen through 2025 as well. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'd like to have Anna Pulaski as part of our
HR team, and she's going to come up and share the Manager of the Year and the Employee of the Year.
Awesome. Good morning. Thank you. Just get a microphone for everyone. Good morning, everyone. Like Lynn shared, my name is Anna, and I am the HR manager here at Seabrook, and I really am delighted to be here with you all this morning to share a little bit more about our Seabrook Island Superstars. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So first, I'm going to embarrass her because Stephanie Finley, or who we fondly call Finley, is our assistant banquet manager here, and she won our Manager of the Year in 2024. If we could give her a big round of applause, she's right over there. Thank you, and I think I've had the pleasure of working with Finley for about a year and a half now, and there is not a day that goes by where Finley doesn't come up to me smiling or sharing a fun story. She is always asking what she can do for me and is constantly putting others before herself, which I know I've learned so much from her just by working with her and observing her, and that is truly something that we hope all employees see in her as a real superstar, and will continue throughout 2025. I'm also excited to share that our Employee of the Year was Stratus Anastapulo. I saw a lot of smiling faces when his name came up. So I'm glad that you guys all know him as well as I do. Stratus has really embodied so much of what we're trying to achieve here at the club. He is our assistant pro at the Racket Club. And like I said, he embodies everything that we want our employees to be. He is a coach to members, guests, it doesn't matter. He is being a teacher to everyone and a friend. He is wanting everyone to feel cared for and supported and receiving excellent service, as well as having fun, which is what our ultimate goal here on the operations side is. We're further developing this culture of caring and making sure that everyone is having fun while they're doing it. So we are super grateful for the both of them. And really, I just wanted to share that myself and my team, it is our job and responsibility to make sure that we continue recruiting, training, and keeping incredible employees like Finley and Stratus. It is an honor and a privilege to be able to do that for you all, and we're just really excited for what we can do in 2025. So thank you so much.
Yet again, another person with no enthusiasm. So, we have some folks to recognize. We have 3 board members that are rolling off of the board this year, and I wanted to give them a little prize, but talk a little bit about them individually. So, Barbara Vincenson, you won a prize. No, come on up here. Come on up here. All right, so Barbara has been serving on the board for the last 6 years. She's an extraordinarily talented architect who has been on a number of committees. The Operations Committee is what it was called years ago, which is now the House Committee now. And also 3 years on the Equestrian Committee, so made major contributions. In the last year, we have been trying to get the laundry building constructed. It's been a labor of love and been delayed for a variety of reasons, but Barbara's been absolutely crucial in making sure that we make progress on that. So thank you so much, Barbara. Missy Whitmore, come on up. So, Missy started on the audit committee as just a committee member, right? Is that how it usually started? Finance first and audit? So in 2022, we had a board member roll off the board, and Missy was asked to jump in and roll up her sleeves and help us with a variety of things. She was the lead person on the bylaw rewrite that was definitely a labor of love, like the laundry building. She was also very instrumental in putting together the board policy manual. As you can imagine, there are tons of documents and things that have historically been created here on the island. It was like an exploration, trying to find out where they were and putting them in one place. So she has done a fabulous job helping us, particularly with those detailed things. So thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so Todd Lynch was in my pledge class. Come on up here. We started at the same time. Yes, he did. Yeah. I won't say what you just said. So Todd obviously is the numbers whiz behind so much of the financials that he's put together. You've just done a terrific job at making it understandable for people. How many people went to the finance presentation where he did like an exploration? He took us through like the 101 of finance. Incredibly helpful for us as members to really understand what the numbers mean. Also instrumental with Patty Leibach on the board and the tennis racket sports staff in the creation of the racket sports renovation. Just did an unbelievable job. He still could come back for 3 more years, so I'm hoping that you'll take a break and come back. Thank you very much. Patty is now here to announce the new board members for 2025.
So I'm happy to say the membership did elect a nominated slate. So we're welcoming to the board Art Doherty.
Press the button, big button.
Big white butt.
Big button.
I don't do this very often, obviously. Art, can you please stand up?
There we go. All right, there we go.
Jerry Finke, welcome to the board. Tom Johnson.
There we go.
And last but not least, Christine Iacocas, welcome back. Thank you all.
You don't know what you've signed up for. All right, so we have a little bit of time for Q&A. I'm sorry we've gone over a bit. Questions from the audience? Okay, good. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000.
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, okay, all right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Oh, spoiler. That's okay.
Is this on?
Yeah,
Awesome.
I think you can tip it up
Great.
for the talking.
I'm Todd Anderson. I live at 926 Sealoft. On behalf of all the owners of the Sealoft Villa Owners Association, I wanted to reach out. It's good that we know that the master plan is supporting the efforts of the club, SAPOA, TOSI, and in pursuit of some very sexy work going forward. There's also the blocking and tackling stuff that's going on. If you're familiar with Sealoft, we occupy a little sliver of real estate along Ocean Winds. And all the nice water features of that golf course are brilliant, but they also encroach on Sealoft as well. We're in the process of doing some remediation of some of our lots as erosion. Nature does not stand still. I'm not looking to blame, I'm looking to partner with people in terms of not just helping us facilitate the remediation of the work that's going on, but also prevention of future erosion. So I'm not trying to solve it in this meeting, but it's ambiguous in terms of who we need to be working with, both at the club, at SAPOA, and then through the town, which isn't directly involved, but every time we need to do work, we need to go through the town to get a variance that is cumbersome and incrementally expensive. So if, even afterwards, if I could have an identification of a member from the club to partner with going forward, that'd be great.
Okay, why don't you reach out to me and we'll figure out how to coordinate with SAPOA. It seems more like a SAPOA issue, but I'm sure there's a club factor there as well, so we're really happy to talk about that. Okay. All right, since SAPOA is coming on, we've got to change some chairs up here. We have a meeting to adjourn.
Sorry.
Oh, hi. Yeah.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my question. My name is Ann Arnold and I live on Seabrook Island Road. And I have a question about the ongoing challenges of connectivity up at the club. You talked about moving toward more of a cloud-based technology for operations, and I'm excited to hear that. But even sitting in this room this morning, we can't connect to the internet. And it's even worse at the beach club. Sometimes texts and calls don't go through. Can you address maybe plans to improve the connectivity? Thanks.
Sure. John's got the microphone.
I'll take some of that. So the town, the club, the utility commission that owns the water tower have been working with Verizon and also AT&T and T-Mobile, who are relinquishing the discussion to Verizon. As soon as the electronics were taken off the water tower in order to clean it, paint it, and also put some heavier structures, that temporary tower next to the fireplace is 20 to 30 feet lower. Immediately the connectivity is going to get hurt. And so we're working with Verizon, which is a very slow process, thanks to a member that's helping me out, helping us out, that does this for a living in the Northeast. It's not unusual from Verizon, but they really need a temporary or permanent tower on the south side of the island on top of the one that will go back on the water tower. So we're working with them on that. The fact that Verizon reached out to us, the island, proactively, tells me they know we're going to have some issues. Ultimately, fiber optics would be the way to go, but that's a whole nother issue. So your connectivity issues are not going to get a whole lot better in the short term. And as more and more streaming comes on in 5G, that'll make it even more challenging. So we're working with them. They need to be able to find some space to put a tower up somewhere here on the south end.
Well, I also think that's a really great opportunity for the town, SAPOA, and the club to partner together to try to figure this out. So thanks for raising it. Appreciate it. All right, we have a motion on the floor to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.